gals, and my non-binary pals. Welcome back to the hub of everything Genesis, the greatest channel of all time. I have an oversized card. I don't know what to do with it. I'm probably gonna use that as like a cutting board. Anyways, new article, PogChamp, Poggerinos. What to expect in the December points update. Pretty big, pretty impactful, pretty swag. This is going to be pretty interesting. Obviously, the big things is I want Radiant Typhoon and 0.0 modern archetypes to get. Radiant Typhoon is just an example. I want Draw Lockbird to gain more points. I want a lot more stuff to be reduced in points that just doesn't make sense for why they have so many points. Like, obviously, the small stuff, like the Rescue Ace cards, those like pretty easy examples, but also think of stuff like Gemnite Master Diamond being 66. That's just kind of a lot. I don't really like how certain hand traps are so overpointed. I think like Imperm should probably go from like 12 to 10. Some of the Dominus cards might be able to like come down a tiny bit, but that's just me. So, into the jazz. As we mentioned in the blog recap, the next points update is scheduled for next week and will take Phantom Revenge into account, even though its official launch date was moved to the 19th for North America, 17th at your OTS. The next update will be based on the results and deck lists received from tournaments, starting with those at YCS Pittsburgh. Thank you to everyone who has been submitting deck lists. Keep coming. Just so everyone knows, we do give strong weight submissions for tournaments as a best of 3, where we see all the deck lists in the most accurate way to compile census data on who's playing what and how often. But all the information is useful to keep looking into what the heck everyone is building. Once again, adjustments fall into several categories. This implies that, like, obviously the strongest weight in regards to how they ban stuff is obviously through, like, tournament data. But
God,
it
I
does
fucking
mean
love this
that
deck.
a good amount of weight is given to
Annoying
watching
to play with,
TV replays on Twitter.
annoying to
Because they
play
never mentioned
against.
that they took those
Where
out.
you
They
want to be
also
when
take
you're a
look at
card.
like online tournaments. It's just that like obviously like
Let me
Wizards
tell
tournaments
ya.
are the most weighted for obvious reasons. Severe performance outliers. This includes cards on both the deck level and individual level. For example, Dracotail's performance at the deck puts it in line for increases. Spoiler alert, Flames going to 5 points. Duh. And Joel Luckmer's performance as an individual card puts it in line for an increase as well. More so in North America than Europe, which is interesting. Spoiler
We
alert,
can get
is because
rid of a
Europe
bunch of their
doesn't really
level
like playing
1s, that'd
Ottawa.
be
I don't know how
great.
to explain it. Europe historically
That was
doesn't
unlikely
really
enough,
like
I
playing
suppose.
wombo combo decks. They like playing mid-range decks. Europe likes playing mid-range or like more control-y decks. Stuff like Dracotail, where the ceilings aren't as high as something compared to like Mitsurugi Yummy, where Americans will just fucking load their AR-15 just start shooting out fucking negates like their life depends on it. Which is probably why Joel Luckford sees a lot more play in America, where they're expecting people to play like wombo combo YouTube decks because that's just kind of what Yu-Gi-Oh culture did for North America, where people see like a Twitter post or a YouTube post and they just kind of copy that. Where in Europe, it's a lot less so just immediately play that and just play more like comfort picks. In my opinion, it's just what I've observed. Obviously, I always happy to be proven wrong. As always, is the most important criteria, the fundamental principle of Genesis. Cards seeing excessive play are seeing their cost going up, recipes roll upward. Other cards come down while keeping OTKs boxed out. Everything listed below is part of our initial ongoing early access tuning. Once we exit early access, it will be very different, and we'll be talking a lot about the long-term Genesis plans soon, and those plans are pretty
Y'all
extensive.
really
Spoiler
should have
alert,
said
we're having
this entire
YCSs,
thing
and
was early
probably going to
access.
have Genesis-specific locals. The people who are in charge of Genesis, from what I've heard, they are looking to work with stores in order to make Genesis more popular. Very obvious, no shit, but there is going to be a lot more support for Genesis. This isn't going to be like a Time Wizards or like a Speed Duel scenario even. Like, I think they really want Genesis take off. And I think they're going to look at stores who are pretty public about them posting like Genesis events and start giving them like a lot more goodie bags. In my opinion, that's just like what I'm kind of like putting together. It's just kind of in and out. To put it another way, everything listed below is going to be a performance outlier unless we hit it now. That's what early access is about. The purely census approach will take over more. Although we'll still need to assign some points to new cards right out of the gate, which isn't perfect with C rated below. On to the categories. As of note, the categories are important because they're a guideline on things we need to watch out for in the future when aligning preliminary points to new sets before they come out. Cards that attack the deck slash extra deck. I mentioned Runic last time, but this category also includes Heka hands, School Tunes, all of which practically strike or steal out cards from the deck or extra deck, so we're hitting them in advance. I think that the cool stuff makes sense, especially because like having something in your extra deck, like let's say you're playing Gem Knights and you want to play Master Diamond with the original, which is like 66 points, getting like 1 in 15 is horrible. Or getting the top of your deck modulated to like have something ripped out that's like a massive point card or a massive part of your engine because like engines are a lot more finicky in Genesis compared to like TCG. Is a lot more miserable. Same could be said with like the heck of hand stuff. Just getting like your stuff robbed. It's very annoying. Cards that multiply excessively. Recipes, no, no, don't worry. Just put them in the bag. Put them in the bag. Cards that instantly turn one combos. In Pittsburgh, players started gravitating unlost source cards like Designator. Spoiler alerts, if you play Designator, you were trolling. And Trifix of Fleeja. Spoiler alerts, if you're playing for Fleeja, you were the goat. That help you force through your turn one combos even if your opponent has a way to respond. The price of these cards is a bit too much bargain for a cross out? A main deck card? Oh, it's actually only 10 points. It's pretty fucked up, actually. I'll be forced through these turn 1 combos even if your opponent has a way to respond. The price of these cards at the moment is a bit too much bargain for how much you stand to gain. Basically, the counters should be more expensive than the counters themselves. You might need to go into that more in another article. I think that counters to counters fine as long as they're mainly situated in the main deck. Because the odds of you drawing cross out has to match the odds of your opponent drawing droll. And the odds that your counter for their counter being live is also reliant on them drawing their counter. Basically, the only time you'll ever have this scenario is like a 1 in 9. Because, your opponent has to hit a 30% chance and you have to hit a chance of, your opponent has droll and you have cross out. Like, sure, 1 in 9s are like kind of annoying, but they're situated in the main deck. Like Crossout Designator is not that popular. Tribeships of Fleecia definitely is, because this is a card that's situated in your extra deck. You can make with like no fucking effort. Spoilers, Don't Know Worry is the fucking cancer in Genesis format. But you guys can understand why Crossout Designator probably is a lot less impactful relative to something like Tribeships of Fleecia, where it does force like an immediate answer. Where Crossout Designator is just kind of like the shitty game of chicken for whether or not your opponent even has anything. And because it's also a main deck card, it can be dilute your opening hands. Like, yes, obviously, if you're playing like a one card combo deck, it makes things like a lot easier, but not that much easier. Towers monsters. We're gonna crank up the cost of Light Dancer and Magnus, so you have fewer points to give them generic backup. God fucking bless. These cards were never like broken. They were strong. Like, don't get me wrong. These cards were very strong. Lunalite won Bologna's Genesis event, and Super Quan won a Genesis
Balagna.
mod at the remote YCS. But these are definitely frustrating decks,
A very
even if they don't
important part
exactly
about
convert
one
that
form
well,
divided
just
into
because of the
many is that
nature of
you're practically
Towers monsters are
guaranteed, for
very,
the
very
most part,
frustrating to like
to be
interact
able
with
to
in
get
general. Think
to
of like
your
TCG in
next
general.
level
Gemini's, for example,
with
is
that.
forced to play like Salesman. Vanquish Soul K9 sometimes plays like
That is
Kaiju,
very
not just as a
important.
bridge, but because, they're pretty good at being searched and you can just like, murder a fucking blight if you need to. Regency monsters that give you another card. Separate ones that cheat out extra monsters. These are cards that get you some other
This
cards in
sucks,
some way.
fucking
Gaga
boss.
Girl and Windups and Mighty are both cards in this category. Gaga Girl makes sense because you search Automata Pickup into Automata Pyra into pitch one card and win the game. Wind up Carriers and like really? Does this card like do anything? Maybe they're gonna reduce the points. I think that's gonna be cool. Like going from like 33 points to 20 might be interesting. Because like a 60-point Wind up Carrier package is pretty swag, especially because you can like overlay
Dude, I
cheese and
think
like
most
do
of
like
my
a topic
level
future
1s are
video.
in my
That's a pretty
life
interesting
burst.
thing that they could do. Like a Rake 3 toolbox. I fuck with that. Themes that weren't tempting. Last time we reduced the points of some things that were popular internally, but not externally. Do this again sometimes. Dragon Maid, Sword Soul, Tenyi, Snake Eye Ninjas, and maybe Centurion and Six Samurai, although they're trickier. Dragon Maid, sure, whatever. I think that Dragon Maid might be a little too good. The main thing that made Dragon Maid so good was the Seal's tiding interaction, obviously, but being able to access like Xiao House plus tiding is still pretty fucking strong. Sword Soul is like whatever, Barone is still banned. Tenyi, literally the most irrelevant archetype ever. Snake Eye, fundamentally cannot work in Genesis. Unless you want to play like Curly Snake Eye or you want to play like Yummy Snake Eye. Fundamentally, this deck does not work. I think that's something that Konami, the Genesis mods, are trying to figure out, but are coming to the conclusion of, is that some archetypes, no matter how low pointed they are, on a fundamental level, they just don't function. Centurion is like a combo swap deck. Centurion, it's very hard to describe Centurion. It feels so strong and unbeatable until you actually play it. And then you're like, this is the worst fucking deck I've ever played. Because you end up like the worst pop and removal ever. Tiding is 10 points. Dude, the fucking deck sucks. Reweighing some point distributions. The adventure cards from Rite of Erebus here, Water Trenches are at 5 each, while the high spec Griffin Rider is at 20. Gladiator Beast and Christian are also being looked at for this. More high
Let's go.
profile cases Brandon, where the Fallen and the Virtuous came out, and we figured everyone would want to play it in threes, so we balanced things by putting things on the extra deck monsters. From what we're hearing, most random players will be happily perfect with just 1 to 2 copies in their new spell card and wouldn't prefer the extra decks to stay costs where they were, so we're just going to make that correction. Now, this is an example of how when we hit cards before they're out, we might guess wrong sometimes. We have to correct that with the next list. Okay, I have opinions about this. When it comes to like overly high point adjustments and engines, I think like bringing some of them down that aren't actually like that good is completely fine. Especially when they do require a real point investment. Like if the adventure package ends up taking 30 points at the end of the day, like because Griffin Rider goes to 10 and like Raid of Armistier and Water Changers go to like like stay at 5. I think that's fair. I think that's a pretty fair thing to include. But when it comes to like the Fallen and the Virtuous, this is a card that arguably wins games by itself. I was talking with like Anthony Shu, the guy who got first in Swiss with Germans at the YCS, and this is a broken ass card. In advance. Even if in advance you are playing it as just a one of and you just spike it off the top, this card does so fucking much. It answers like Herald, it answers random back row, fuck ass monsters. It answers like basically everything you could ever want. This card is so powerful for so many reasons. And even if you don't have the repeatability of the Fallen and the Virtuous, it is still just extremely strong because Anthony was only playing one target in his extra deck. He was playing one Albion in order to, just like search another copy, but he wasn't playing any other fusions. He was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna pitch the second one off of Droplet, or like pitch it off of like Nephrim. Like that's how powerful this card is. And in a deck that is able to hard search it, and they're just like, yeah, we only need to play one. Yeah, fucking course you only need to play one. It's a one-up in your deck because everything searches everything. It's like saying, yeah, I only need to play one Mercurier, or yeah, I only need to one like Brandon lost. Like, yeah, no fucking shit, bro. It's searchable. Like, I do think Brandon is a very, very dangerous archetype in regards to how one wrong point adjustment can cause a nuclear bomb. Because that deck, if it resolves like one card, the game ends. You know what I mean? If it resolves one Brandon fusion, or like one
Kind of feel
Brandon
like it
High
doesn't
Spirits
matter
or
what I
something,
choose to
you're like
commit,
fucked.
especially against
You
Mugen.
just lose. And because we don't have like hand traps, so I really interact with that, at least on like a profitable level. Because stuff like Droll and the Dream don't really hurt that deck that bad. It's a lot more difficult to deal with like the Mirror Jade and the Brandon Red and the trap card of it. So I would like to see that this deck does stay pretty heavily pointed,
Right, I
but not
forgot
like
that
so pointed that
costs.
you don't
Yeah, I
have
definitely should have
like
just
I'd
went
like
with
this deck to be
Sash.
playable, but definitely not in the form that it is right now. But be very careful, Konami. There are several generic cards where no one is using at their current values that will drop. We are still figuring out how to gradually make defiance if a card isn't being played, but then drops 0. Suddenly, everyone will play 3, and then it just yo-yos back and forth. Just a sweet sauce over. Yeah, it's called Mirage of Nightmare. I forever think that Mirage of Nightmare is the most
There's a
fucking
level
Hitler
2.
card in one of the
Yup.
most Hitler cards in this. Oh my
Yup. Oh
god, that
my
card is
god.
disgusting, bro. People were using Mirage of Nightmare like Radiant Typhoon, but there's no balancing it like that where he plays in like Pot of Green. It was something that they had to like, actually take into account. Now you just fucking slap that shit into any Radiant Typhoon deck without consideration. Because
My
now you
early
don't really
game
play
was
Pot of Green.
doomed
Because
from the
again, like
start.
I said, turns out Genesis players should just fucking play good cards instead of bad cards like Pot of Green that make you lose a droll. And just play like Fallen the Virtuous. Just play
That
just
is
play
a
like good
flaw.
cards. And instead,
Although I say
no,
flaw
I
with
think you're gonna play Pot of Green.
quotes
But
because
now that they're actually like taking
Mugen
good decks
stalls
back
the
over
game
it's like,
so
oh my god, you know what's better
much.
than Pot of Green? Super
Your
Pot of Green at
early
0.
game
I'm playing
very
that
much
shit
doesn't
because you can play
matter.
that shit in anything
You
that can
have
pop into
7
its
life
monster
cost
assets.
and you have
You
so
like
much
go Mirage of Nightmare,
defense
draw 4, Triple
that it
Apocalypse during like
very
the end of
much
your
does
front
not
stage. You go
matter,
for Barrage
in
of
my
Nightmare,
opinion.
congratulations, bro, you're fucking coming and shitting penis. What deck has both? Traps and hand traps? Eldritch. The next update after this one will release of Burst Protocol. There are no large-scale Genesis events between now and then, so the primary purpose of the update will be bad points to cards releasing in Burst Protocol and adjust others based on the edition BPRO. Okay, obviously a lot of mentions on Automat. Automat's probably dead. Rest in peace, my Automat deck. Rest in peace, Frango Minian, like Utopia, Ray Leo, FCK. It was funny owning you. It was funny winning a Genesis pod, but I'm sorry. Rest in peace, my boy. I think Crystron is something I don't think underpoint it because it will become an obnoxious deck. It already is an obnoxious deck. It already is. You can just play King Knight Crystron in like Genesis right now. Anyways, I think that these changes are changes, and I'll be sure to sit on the fence and vague post until the end of human time. I think that for the most part, these changes look good. I would have liked them to like more specifically mention war archetypes that they are going to hit. Like I really would have loved for these sections to be way bigger. Like just be like, Yeah, Radiant Typhoon, that's just gone. Yeah, Runic, that's just gone. Autobot, that's just gone. Rongominia, that's just gone. Blah 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 blah. Ludolite voices best. Okay, absolutely not. Anyways, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the article down below, and I will see you all in the next video.
Oh,
Bye for now.
right, Exia. Hmm, I didn't think that through. I committed... I committed you for no reason. And we have our own fog. Go ahead and use this. As good a time as any. Might be a good idea to just try to threaten lethal right here, right now. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Conserving this. Yeah, Bikini Yuzuki is so fucking good, man. Okay, wow, we're just very dead. Those life bursts sealed the game, although the game was already lost. It's just those life bursts made us lose quicker. Like, that's something. We can go double Exia and then just go assassin. I mean, we don't even need to go assassin. We just win here. Like, on the rare chance they do a life burst, then we don't win. But if that does happen, then we do still have a defense. We can still defend. We have enough resources. Revelation of the Overseers almost guarantees we'll be able to keep get 2 cards in hand. That's like the only risk. But for the most part, this is practically a one game. Yep. Yikes. Beat me to it, huh? I want to try Hanayo again. Hanayo Turbo. Uh, Mama Anga Banga's my favorite way to play, but like Hanayo 2 is plenty of fun. It's just I don't know how to play it. This is the list I'm using. The person we fought against didn't bother uh, with putting other level zeros. And they did play a defensive thing. I can't remember what it was. I wish I saved the replay. I mean, I have the recording, but not very convenient. I think it was Flaming Shield from both ends. Although something like this feels like it'd be more impactful, our defense should convert neatly into offense. Like this is a little too much, you know. And all we realistically need is one bit of protection. Because likely games aren't gonna last long enough. And removal is enough of an issue in the late game. Here we go. This thing vanishes anything. It was a really interesting red spell they played as well. Yeah, this thing. When this Signy attacks, vanish target Signy on your opponent's field with power 10 or less, which is definitely very valuable. Does require playing Dissonance, which honestly seems like the way to go since that's what our opponent did. I want to try keeping this playstyle. Uh, Unknown Memories good enough anyways, I think. It is guaranteed mid-game removal, as well as a way to get more resources. Huh, you're a dissonant. and there aren't enough this in us. We could play level 3s with life bursts, but I don't believe that's worth it. Just gonna put a bunch here and decide later. Which ones I think are gonna be worth it. Allosaurus is worth it. There's a level 2 I believe that's practically made for Altered Roaring Flame Hanayo. I don't remember the name though. Oh, it's the one whose literally name is Hanayo. Yeah, never mind. It's not that good. We need more ones.
Pikachu with McDonald's. Under the pictures, that's the one we don't see. Card games are straightforward, right? We have a set of rules, you have a bunch of numbers, then you have a text box with an effect. That's what the card does when you play. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Surely. No different. Get complicated ruling nonsense. That seems something. It's like an AI, like, generated stock video? What is this? Why is the judge hammering money? But it's also not the full picture. Card games, have far more going on than meets the eye. The way cards. Who edited this? Why is Optimus Prime and that what's written on the card? Oh my god. Press effective, and the effect far surpasses text card set. There are many such cases, and
Many
understanding them can
such
give you a
cases.
huge edge in understanding matchups, understanding metas, your own deck. It'll give you a huge edge in tournaments. Big thing that I feel like many players don't truly appreciate when they're trying to improve. And at this most recent many such cases, I made note of a specific interaction that hadn't really clicked for me before that ended up helping me out in my later rounds, and I felt was a good example of this principle effect. So I felt like it'd be good to share with you guys. So for one, you can see this one interaction, like different formats, hopefully see my kind of workings of a pro duel, how I dissect situations. You can apply this to your own deck, other matchups, formats, the future, the past, wherever, and your gameplay across all of it. So with this in mind, after you've heard this isn't going to boil down to activate draw, right, guys? Similar that you covered through playing a game in certain matchups or decks that follow this sort of principle. Because there are. I'll be kind of cooking with the production, by the way. Know all of them. So look how much better this is. For the YCS streams. This type of content where I try to elevate the player base and give you guys more insight into where you please consider liking and subscribing. It does go a long way. Now, I do have other content like this on the channel and on the T player channel where I did a bit of a mini fundamentals, more advanced stuff to
video, which
I thought Jesse was sponsored by TCG player. Wasn't he like Tier 0 the other day?
So I played Draco. It's been around for a few months now. I've played it for a couple of months. Most people.
God, I love this deck. I can't wait till it comes to Master
This
Duel.
will sound like gibberish. I'm not going to explain all the cards here. I'm sorry, but you can go see my last.
This is a
I'm
really
sure you
old
all
one.
understand vaguely what Draco Tail does, right, guys?
Yeah, moving on. In Draco Tail, you're often going to have a chance to set a number of Draco Tail traps in the deck, but you cannot always set 3. You have Draco Tail Flame, Horn, and Stick. So when you're choosing to develop your disruptions, you have the choice for Spell Negate, Graveyard Disruption with Sting, and the attack position monster bounce with Horn. Now, Horn is oftentimes regarded as one of the weakest ones as play around. You can bounce any attacked monster, then, yeah, it's removal, which is fine, but because it stipulates attack position only,
Just put your link in defense.
summon all their monsters in defense mode. So what this means is Favor Soul summon their guys in defense.
That's my takeaway from this.
Or if you're playing against the Canine card, same thing. They'll leave level 5s in defense mode until Lupus overlays for X. Now can't be targeted. In the mirror match, like Secretariat Drag, the only card that removal really matters for due its ability, you put it in defense and it's no longer a problem. The only real spot in that strategy is if it's a Link monster. The Link monster has to be in attack mode, in which it's impactful. Yet in the form we find ourselves in, Link monsters really aren't that common, and the one Link that you could hit in Matchy and Quick Synchro kind of just makes it negligible. And when you set this against the alternatives of the Spell the Game, which is really strong right now, hitting cards like Raho and Keats, Branded Fusion, Mitsurugi Ritual, Mitsurugi Players, Provisional Rights.
What else can rip off enter from the opponent and like that important enough? I mean, for the we are playing Dance of the Flame Sword, which could be more than enough alongside Allosaurus.
So far, has he?
Graveyard centric, as the effect will trigger immediately, it still denies value off of cards like
Okay, he's setting the precedent.
Value from Secretariat Drake, value from Frixel, value of Arthalion at that. Means that this thing definitely can give you and guarantee value, where a Horn in that case not have that same promise. So when you're kind of presented opportunity at one digital trap, I think it is pretty safe to go for Flame. Flame feels like far and away the best one. But when you're presented with the option,
God, I fucking love aggro decks like these that just play 4 of everything.
It can be used on way more things. It's almost always going to be live, and you can almost
straight up Unga Bunga.
Besides the draw aspect, no doubt more flexible.
I could try playing Carnival just because of her
easy to play around. And this kind of question happens very often.
Life burst ability.
And I find myself wondering, what do I search? Do I search Sting or do I search
We're playing
Obviously,
4,
there's not
8,
one easy answer. While I think Flame is a priority, the other
12,
two, you need to judge a little bit on a case-by-case basis which one is preferred.
We're playing 20, we're playing half-half. I feel like that should be enough.
And guaranteed value, that it is probably the safest one in most scenarios, but it actually works against your goal. So whenever you're building a board and playing a deck and playing for follow-up, you need to kind of understand what you're working towards here. Draco Tail can be really strong on the follow-up, because you're always going to guarantee to have the Rahu and E2 follow-up, and then other Draco Tails as well, and the revive effects of both the Lamel and the Line. And in contrast, you have a bit of a weaker end board. Not weak, I don't want to call it weak, but comparing it to maybe, say, Yamimitsu, it's not as strong. Knowing these things is because it means that you know what you have to look for as you're playing out your duel. Because if I'm playing a deck with, say, bad follow-up, my opponent's making their plays, I'm deciding where I want to interact. I'm going to try and suffocate. If my opponent's able to play into a grind game, and I've established my grind game isn't good, then I've probably lost. Alternatively, if my deck is good, grind game, like Dragon, then more
Avatar.
and how many my opponents set up any super important disruption, like in the Yummy matchup. Able to do that, then I'm content going into a grind game and winning from that. Knowing how that matchup plays in that regard is the first important step to achieving the second part of this awakening. From there, I decide, okay, I'm playing versus most decks for now. I just need to make sure I stay alive. I engage in a grind game as the Dragon Zone player. Once I reach this decision, now which one becomes better? Sting or Horn? As the tournament kind of played out for me, I realized every time my opponent got all 3 trap cards, I got all 3 trap cards. The card that was winning me the game when Dragon Zone player went second,
The Mugen matchup with aggro always does forces the aggro player to actually have to think, which depending on who you ask, that makes stun healthy, but I'm a fan of not thinking with your card games.
Fusion monster with at least 3,000 attack monster is not going to be posing a threat to my opponent's life points this turn. They can just strictly ignore it. And if they're going for the perspective of trying to stay alive, then that horn has already still done its job of denying the attacker, even though it has bouncing. Then obviously, while the horn stays on the field, the longer it stays there, you're trying to continue denying it value, denying its ability to bounce and draw, then you're giving it more value, and the monsters have to keep defense mode, which will push further into grind game. In many cases, that's really rough, because the first turn player will often have a secretary on Dragon setup that gives them a big edge in part of it. It's interesting, because the Strictell Horn has this implicit ability that as long as it's there, if your opponent either knows it's there or expects it's there, they're going to be summoning monsters in defense mode. It should be. It essentially acts as a level limit area B as long as it's face down.
That's a crazy parallel.
Stay alive, a level of an area B, an attack floodgate actually does the job pretty well. Cycling back, what trap do I set? Find the choice of 2 traps out of the 3, and my goal is to survive. I think I'm pretty confidently going to pick the fourth from now on. This is a lot of different aspects of complex Yu-Gi-Oh coming together.
My favorite part going first with an aggro deck.
I like this perspective,
Your first
right?
turn
It's
straight up
explaining that
never
if you get
matters.
into a grind game. Grind games are good for reducing variance because there's more decisions to be made, more actions to be taken. Therefore, the better player should win because you have to make more meaningful decisions over the course of a longer period in time. So, level limit area B, don't sleep on it, basically.
Towards goals in matchups, but then also understanding how cards have.
That's really the takeaway here. Level limit area probably good question mark.
Mode, but that's what it does. Interestingly, knowing that this exists, if I decide going second as a Dragontail player and no horn is there, and I decide that say I can't win a grind game, I'll just summon monsters in attack mode and give value. Because me summoning the monster in defense mode is that same thing, just not summoning it or letting it bounce. General. And if I start summoning multiple monsters in defense mode, that's a problem. Because now multiple bodies have been removed in the price of the one horn. This obviously extends to many other fashions as well. Think back to Bull Yu, how Gores was such a big payoff that it meant your opponent didn't attack if that card really existed. The fact that cards exist and are powerful, and the fact that you can also play around them, also leads.
Is there any other examples of this?
Spiral in a way for playing around them is edge itself and finds us other effects in the game. That's why I refer to metagame and such often as this economy ecosystem. It's the
yeah.
That play that it can be hard to understand.
I guess like in theory that's what the charmies are supposed to do, right? Force you into different lines and plays. Even though you might not necessarily give your opponent like 3 draws with Fuwa, or any draws. You can give your opponent 0 draws with Fuwa, but it forces you to a weaker board, right?
Now, one other thing I want to discuss also happened to West. It's a little different. Not the same as
evenly. I don't think anyone really plays around evenly, or do they?
More so touching on
Omni. You know, that's how you play around evenly.
When you're making plays, you have the reason behind all of it. Everything you do does have a direct bonus, right? The Straight-Tail Horn does far more than
Torrential, Mirror Force, and Old Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of these principles are very important in Old Yu-Gi-Oh!
What I noticed was, I've been doing something to build a habit. When I've been summoning Arclion, in most cases, Straight-Tail, I've been summoning Mesh monsters.
Oh damn, look at this.
So, it's not really a risk of denying that option. But what it does do is it means that if my opponent has IQMS Reyna on the field, they can link summon for Gorgon and negate it depending on where's the line. But if I summon it in the actual Monster Zone,
oh my god, have people been playing Gorgon in TCG?
Monster Zone against Gorgon or into an IP.
That's crazy. For anyone who doesn't know what Gorgon is, it's this new link that like points to 3 zones and your opponent gets like negated on them or something. That's very funny. I'm glad that card is seeing play. I always thought that was going to be good.
Like, the worst things you can do to blunder. And by making...
Is it really better than SP?
Forcing myself to learn that habit, I'm avoiding that. Now, obviously, it's not an IPS screen on the field, but my perspective at first, I was like, I'll train myself on this habit, that way I don't make a blunder during the tournament. There's not really a downside. I cross sheep anyways instead of seals, and you can see the combos I do in my deck profile. Even mind what I said earlier. I said I don't play Erratic Seal. My opponent doesn't know that. So by me summoning Arthalion into the actual monster zone, on my turn 1, when they have no way of it ever being impactful, I'm now conveying information to my opponent. I may not play Erratic Seal, as well as it's clear, at least in this specific position, I have zero intent to make, which gives away information. For one, if you're playing a Yummy deck or Mitsurugi deck, you might be scared of a Class Breeder Draco. It's really popular in enough Draco Tail decks that you weren't playing around it. So some interactions like Ash might be held in your hand for Erratic Seal to deny that Draco from happening. That's again kind of backwards folding logic of you see the problem, Draco, play to meet the problem. Identify that's weakness. That's good on the Yummy and Retsu play. But I'm giving my opponents free information there and free ability.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty normal, I think, for a lot of people to instantly use the EMZ and not link decks, thinking it's just a good way to save space, but
so while it is good that I've been trained
you are just giving information, I guess, like he says. So, I guess we don't need the space, it's unnecessary to do that play.
Weird adverse effects of giving away information to opponents that very well might impact the game. It's only a little bit, and it's incredible how this level of mind game and playing around thing does exist with the Yu-Gi-Oh! People say it's just a solitaire game. The micro interactions and systems with the game are still entirely there. It's what makes the distinction between the best players and the players who just learned their deck combos. And as I continue to try and improve myself, and sometimes I have to relearn some of these concepts, it's important that I pay attention to this stuff and always just try and get better. It's important to look out for this stuff because even though I wasn't disappointed with my performance or my play,
well, this video is highlighting the lines in between the lines.
It's still interesting that
I think this would do well with practical.
Oh wait, I just realized that the
Video
Flame
like
Sword
this.
and Twice
Like
Entwined
an actual,
conflict with
highlight
each
of like
other.
a turn being played out. Seeing it physically in action, I think would be interesting.
Kinda.
Maybe I'm making mistakes that I haven't seen.
Since I can only get the Recollect off of one or
I
the
don't
other.
think there's ever been a lot of videos done in Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yu-Gi Tubing analyzing like literally like one turn. Out of characters, I think did like a really good one on like Herman's Master Duel like replay with Snake Eye.
As I approach every
Like there's some good ones out there. I think that what's his name? Sai? It's like a Counter-Strike content creator now, which is crazy. He did a couple of those, which was cool.
My opponent actually pointed out to me the mistake with Arthalion is they said, "Oh, so you don't play Seals." Yeah, you're right. I think
That's the one.
I encourage you guys to really take these concepts to the next step. Let me know how you apply these in your own games. If you notice anything
He's a Sai off.
Of course, be respectful in the comments to each other.
Transferable skills between Yu-Gi-Oh! and Counter-Strike.
Share some more stories with you guys, more interactions with myself.
We should make a video like that. I used to do like some replay highlights, but they weren't like super popular. I only really did them if I was like super confident. What's the word? Super. I'm looking for like into a deck or something. Oh my god, Jesse has so many patrons. Beast.
Fuck.
God damn. All right, that was a good video. Slightly long for my liking. I think a lot of that was kind of repeating, but there's just like a masterclass of requirements for getting into like the good to bet insane player like stage. You know, there's like a level that you crack at some point. I've never cracked it, but these are the concepts and principles that help you get there. So it is cool that there's videos on this. You should make like a playlist or something. But yeah, good stuff.
Hilarious thing is, our guard ability is actually pretty worthless. If they have a guard, they're just gonna discard it immediately. And they're always gonna have a rig barrier, so it's like there's never a good opportunity to activate Hanayo's ability, which just feels pretty bad. Not worth activating that. Oh, come on, don't lag on me like this. Okay, good. And yeah, we only have two things for the exceed. I mean, we win. This guy isn't worth running. Or 12. And again, I don't know what else we could be playing. For the greens. Maybe you're worth it. You definitely aren't. Like, yeah, it is valuable to have more ways to get better. I could play Burning Reflex. Kind of defense is perfect for a hyper aggro strategy. Doesn't cost us anything. Technically, we could play removal. We're a bit lacking in that department. We can try running at full speed again. So we have more payoffs to the greens. Who the hell is Thomas Rowling? Is that fucking Ayasha my Mario? Oh, riding through the flames could be good. It is removal. And since the cost is crushing our life cloth, it can potentially allow us to do 2-for-1s with the effect. It is quite risky. But I do think it's way better than Blazing Heated. Moving has not been particularly fun.
It's Doom! Alright, beats lessons.
Finally, a good starting
Guaranteed
hand.
banger.
Holy shit.
Here we go. Yoshihiko Ikawa's 7-in-1 Jeskai control deck from Worlds. Is there insane amounts of technology? It has a lot of the dragon stuff, 2 revelations. I don't think you would look at it, and if you were just like well, what kind of Jeskai deck is it? It's a lot of what we've seen before. It's Shiko and things like that. But I'm excited to try it out for you guys. I don't know what I'm up against. Are you... Okay, Reanimator everywhere. This is the deck people are turning to, hoping that it will do the job. Let them beat the dreaded Lessons deck. Which here in Mythic, I've seen a lot more of Reanimator than Lessons so far. I expected that Lessons deck to be everywhere, all the time. Do I take this? This is part of the go second problem. I think I do. We can gain life back with Helix and such. I'm even wondering if I'm supposed to go face. Like, you kind of want these in the graveyard, but I need to stock up, so I need to stabilize the board some. Now what you want to see... So how does this deck handle an opponent who's going to reanimate a bunch of things and kill me? It turns out it doesn't. Like, the sideboard has Soul Guide Lanterns, Ghost Vacuums, it's best of one. We don't have our sideboard. That's Flanker as well. We have a couple little counter spells, that's it. Well, I'll take the counter spell. This, I will take the Archive to try to make sure I don't flood out. Might be a very quick game if they had Superior Spider-Man right there. But they don't. They just have more 2/3s. More things that don't die to Pyroclasm. And 6 mana to kill them with Fire Magic. That's going to take a while. Harden's in bin now. Must dig. It's not good enough. Yeah, were we supposed to draw more card advantage here? This deck has 4 stock up. That's a pretty good card, right? Deck has Rediscover the Ways. That seems like a good card. This is going to get them another big spell. Yeah, I guess I just have to. At this point, I can't wait anymore. If they have the reanimation and just I've already lost the game. And they probably do. You've seen so many cards. But the Overlord will really get you in this matchup. There's Rediscover the Way. Can we
Probably
find
should have
another
reversed
counter
these
spell
two.
with it?
Would have been more valuable to trash the red than the green.
Top 3. No! Is Dragon, does it do anything? If we could get in the yard, maybe? Don't think that's a real option. I'm gonna keep digging for Jeskai Revelation and such, but maybe they are scared of No More Lies and play around it. That would be good for us. Close to Fire Magic at instant speed? Come on! Okay, no Superior Spider-Man yet. No Superior Spider-Man. Just another Brood Spinner that dies to Fire Magic. I think I get Lost the Overlord now. I mean, I can't stop them from reanimating anyway, unless I get really lucky. But what I want them to do is use their maps so they can't post-combat Superior Spider-Man me. There's no terror. There's no terror. I'm not terrified. Are you terrified? Card. Also a stock up. Alright. What we need from them. Activate map token. Respond Fire Magic. and then for them not to have a land. Bang! Walked right into it. Get everything our heart desired. The full 6 mana fire magic. Cool animation. No land. Oh, it's a tap land. Okay, you're telling me there's a chance. What's the... Alright, let's look over this list again. Jeskai Revelation, we won't have the mana for that. Need Dispelling Exhale. We already used No More Light. So I guess playing Shiko makes sense. No. Yes. Ooh, do we take 2 damage? Alright. Wish me luck. I need it. Bitter Triumph, and they hold a card. I wonder what it could be. Huge stock up. Not there, guys. But I'll take the Monastery. For the untapped land, save me 2 life. 1 Get Lost for an Arden might keep a hasty thing from happening to us. But I think we're about to die. But there's no Terror of the Peaks. Lord. No! Okay, they can't have... They didn't hit Superior Spider-Man. So they can't have Spider-Man and land. We're actually... safe? For now? Still at 17, but if we draw a Jeskai Revelation, which we've been through a lot of our deck and haven't seen, that is another way to keep the Spider-Man from happening. Take a Brood Spinner. Uh-huh. Prevail 2. But now if they hit the reanimation, I just die. I'm just dead. Which means holding this Get Lost for an Arden doesn't make sense. Let's deny them that map. Oh, their last card is a land. Did you see that? There was Stick. When it sticks like that, you know. Let's start rediscovering the way.
Dude.
Parting Gust. They do much, but a dragon with a Dispelling Exhale does a lot?
Yeah, I like this build the most. Pretty effed up. Gotta say, I don't feel like we're getting much value out of the spells. Feels like I could remove them and my deck might be better for it. At the very least, I might want to keep opening Signal. Oh, I might be better off with a... higher value stuff. I feel like that's really good. This one's even better.